Tune in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Are you ready to explore the unknown? Dive into the world of the strange, mysterious, and unexplained with Eerie Expeditions magazine. Each issue is packed with spine-tingling tales, cutting-edge paranormal investigations, and exclusive insights into hauntings, cryptids, UFOs, and more. Whether you're a seasoned investigator or just love a good ghost story, Eerie Expeditions magazine has something for you. Join our growing community of truth seekers and adventure lovers. Subscribe today at EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com and unlock the secrets of the supernatural. Are you ready? That's EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com, where the extraordinary is just a click away. Dare to discover.
What's out there? What creates the shadows in the corners or the creatures of the dark? Who are those on the other side? What do they have to say? This is the Gateway Podcast. This is not your normal style of paranormal talk radio. Brought to you live from United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM New Orleans.
So, hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Tuesday Night Show. Into the night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. This one is for Heidi. Hey, buddy, how are you? Hey, Heidi, good to see you. Sparky, good to see you. Okay. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. Thank you for popping in. And everybody else who is listening in the 120 different countries that we got going on tonight. Couple announcements. I want you to remember that CL Thomas, my best bud, one of my best buddies. She has her podcast on next. It's called the Gateway Podcast with CL Thomas. So right after my show, if you can, and if you're bored and don't want to have nothing to do, jump on over and listen to CL. She has a great show. She really is. There she goes. Heidi says, "Hey, buddy." Mark Eddy, how are you, sir? I don't know. I'm glad. I'm glad today. I'm happy today. It's been a good day for me. And I went to the doctors today and got a good bill of health from everywhere. So I don't know. I'm just a happy camper today. The other reason why I'm happy is, hey, Jendel, good to see you. And another reason why, Bill Rigby, how are you, sir? Good to see you, sir. Thank you for popping in. Now, why also I'm excited is because my guest tonight, okay, I got Maxim Furek and I got Daniel Hageman. And Daniel is setting up the 18th annual Butler Paranormal Conference this Saturday, April 26th. And Max is going to be one of the guest speakers there. And we're going to discuss about the conference up there. And hey, Mr. Vogel, good to see you. And we're going to discuss it tonight. As you know, that I've been advertising it for the last couple months. Well, today's the day that they're on the show, and they're just going to talk about it, which I'm really excited about. I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans for allowing me to share my hour tonight with you all, and on for Sunday nights too. Kirk W., good to see you. Hey, Sean, good to see you, brother. Dan and Max, thanks for your time tonight. Good to see you. And I'm going to say this right now before I forget it, but my new motto is, okay, I'm not looking for the Ritz, just the saltine. I'll let y'all think about it and see how you come up with that. So without further ado, my friends, my speakers, Mr. Max Furek and Mr. Daniel Hageman. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hi, John. Hi, Dan. Thanks so much for the invite.
Oh, listen, not a problem, man. I mean, I'm like totally excited about for you guys doing this Saturday. I know that I'm going to say maybe like the first 2 or 3 years, I did go to the Butler Conference a long time ago, and I had a table there, and I really did have a good time up there. And that was like 15, 16 years ago. So I haven't been up there since because I work too much. You know what I mean? Dan says, Bill Rigby says, Dan the man. And Heidi's saying, hi, Max and Daniel. Much love from Boulder, Colorado.
Great.
Okay, Mr. Dan. All right. Tell me about what got you interested into doing the Butler Paranormal Conference.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you again for having us on this evening, and
you're welcome.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart for advertising our conference. You don't know how much that means. We truly appreciate it. What got me into this? Primarily, I was interested in, and am still interested in, the UFO UAP phenomena and aliens. Earliest experience, I was 5 years of age. My whole entire family had an encounter. And in my lifetime, I've had multiple sightings throughout my lifetime. One of the big events that really sparked my interest was the Betty and Barney Hill incident, Betty and Barney Hill abduction.
Right.
And I remember when that came out, the story broke, and it was in magazine. Got the magazine, I read the article, reread the article. I still have that magazine today.
Wow.
And 2 years ago, I had Betty's niece, Kathleen Marden. She was one of our guest speakers at the conference. That saw that there was so much interest in, primarily at the time, the UFO phenomena. I thought, well, I'm going to see if there's anybody that would be interested in having monthly meetings. So we started up monthly meetings. We met at the Butler Library in Butler, PA, in their meeting room in the basement. And I'd pack the room every single month. There'd be 30, 40 people, and then many cases standing room only. And eventually, over a period of a couple years, we started losing people that were there every single month. And I reached out. Some of them contacted me and said, look, you can only talk about Roswell so much. Would like to hear about ghosts. Would like to hear about Bigfoot. Would like to hear about Dogman. And I sat back and I took a look at the picture. Back then, we went by the Butler UFO Group. Thought, well, what can we do to broaden our horizons? So I changed the name of the group to the Butler Organization for Research of the Unexplained, to broaden our horizons. I had the opportunity to go out on a couple ghost investigations. primarily as a spectator. And one of the places that I went to was Hillview Manor in Newcastle, PA. And I come out of there just totally blown away, just 100% believer, and just couldn't believe the things that I experienced. Then I also had the opportunity to go out on some Bigfoot investigations and saw the footprints, casted the footprints. A friend of mine that lives up in Kinzu Dam area, we go up there. I go up 3 times a year, and we camp out. We put out trail cams, cast footprints, and when I had an encounter with a Bigfoot, Denny and I both did, and to be 20 foot away from this creature, just absolutely awestruck. I almost soiled my britches, if I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah, you are.
The creature exists. It's out there. It's real. And the one that we were 20 feet away from, awful big. It had to have been at least 12 foot tall, and every bit of 800 pounds, if not more. And just absolutely blown away.
Wow.
So, it got me interested in all facets of the paranormal, just not UFOs and aliens.
All it does is take one investigation, Dan. That's all it does. Max, talk about you, man. What's going on?
Well, Shauna, thanks so much for having me back. And looking at your lineup of folks that are checking in. So you have quite a few people here that there's Bill Rigby and Mark Eddy.
Mike.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, thanks for having me back. I'm a former psychologist and rock journalist, and I've had a couple of very successful books on rock and roll, rock biographies. I was writing a book about a song called Timothy, a song from 1971, and it was about cannibalism in a mine shaft. And this took, and as I'm writing and researching this rock biography, I realized that the song Timothy had parallels with the 1963 Shepton mine disaster. Same story. 3 guys were entombed for 2 weeks. Only 2 came out, and the local people wanted to know what happened to your mate, what happened to the third person. And both in the song, there's the influence that it was cannibalism, and in 1963, a lot of people believe that happened. So I investigated the story. I talked to countless people there, did all kinds of research, and I wrote a book called Shepton, The Myth, Miracle, and Music. No, it wasn't in Colorado. It was in Shepton, Pennsylvania, in Luzerne, Schuylkill County, right outside of Hazleton, Pennsylvania. But Shepton in 63 had elements of out-of-body experiences, afterlife experiences, and near-death experiences. So this was 2016. That was the book that started it all, that opened up the doors for me. And I want to say this, I didn't go looking for the paranormal. The paranormal pretty much found me. So 2016, the book came out, and I was invited on numerous podcasts, and there were podcasts back in 2016. I was invited to expos. I was on Australia's Mysterious Universe, a 90-minute presentation or program, and just on and on and on. So the thing I want to say is this, first of all, stepping into the paranormal was unexpected. I didn't go looking for it. It happened. The other thing is the response, the treatment was just tremendous. I can't believe the altruism, the camaraderie, just the friendship of these folks that I've met. And the other thing, I don't know if I've ever even discussed this with other people, on podcasts, but there's been so many podcasters that have opened up doors for me. A lot of these guys are younger, but if you have any doubts about the younger generation, where their hearts are, I'll tell you what, at least in my case, they have been very, very helpful. They've opened up doors. They've introduced me to other podcasters, and it's just such a wonderful, welcoming community. And I think in a sense, we found our tribe. these are our people. We share the same values and beliefs. And I don't think it matters if you believe in Dogman or Bigfoot or flying saucers or UAPs or whatever. I think it's all part of that same ectoplasmic whatever. It's the unknown. It's the mysterious unknown. It's the paranormal. Nobody knows. I believe that it has a tie-in with the scientific, that there may be scientific explanations, and maybe at some point we're going to find out. But my current excitement and passion for the paranormal is just, I want to find out. I want to know what's on the other side. I want to know what's beyond the veil and beneath the murk and all that. And I think too that there's a little bit of the Indiana Jones in all of us, that we need to find that holy grail. We need to get to the top of the mountain. We need to do all that. And I think that we're all excited about, these levels of high strangeness and trying to figure it out for ourselves. So, all I know is that's my journey. I don't know what the destination is, where it's going to take me. But look, already I've met great people like you, Sean and Dan, and this is great. I can't ask for anything better. And, I'm going to just keep on doing this. And I just hope at the end of the day that maybe I could contribute something to the genre, maybe something for the good of the order, whatever that might be. Maybe a theory, a hypothesis, or some evidence or information, or maybe to be able to describe the paranormal in a way that makes sense. So that's who I am and where I am and where I came from. And
Cool.
Again, I'm glad to be here. Like you said earlier, I'm a happy camper too.
I'm glad somebody is out. They're all happy campers. CL Thomas, she popped in. Hey, CL, good to see you. Welcome, Paranormal Brew. It's good to see you. Thank you for popping in. Heidi says, high strangeness is mystical and best chit chats. LOL. That's definitely true. And Paranormal Brew says, everything under the same umbrella. Agreed.
Yep.
Okay, everybody, real quick. CL, she's in the room. Her show comes on at 9:10 tonight after mine. So I'm telling you what, you need to go over there and give her some love, man. You got to give her some love. She has a good podcast. Now, Dan, who do you got speaking up there at your thing?
We have Stan Gordon from Greens Garden. We have, of course, Maxim Furek. We have the Psychic Vincent sisters. We have
James Krug.
Krug. And we have
Kevin Paul.
Kevin Paul. Thank you, Max.
Sorry, Dan. Okay, don't shoot me.
You know what? That's too okay. Much work for me, man. That would probably drive me nuts. But how did you come up with these speakers? Was there something interesting about them? Have you heard them before? How did you them?
We've had Stan. He has spoke at the conference a couple of different times, as well as the Psychic Vincent sisters. James Krug. We've brought them back because there's been a tremendous request to have them back. How I originally met Stan Gordon was I had a major UFO sighting back in 1982. And, of course, I reported it. Stan took the report. It was published in a dozen different newspapers in the state of Pennsylvania. This thing was reported from Maine to Florida. Saw a massive triangular-shaped object. And, it's a long story to go into. I don't want to waste the whole podcast talking about it, but eventually this thing stopped directly above us. You looked straight up and it was right above us. If you take a rack off of a pool table, triangular shaped, and hold it up at arm's length, that's how big it would be. In perspective, this thing had to have been huge. Light on the front, one on each corner and the back, and they pulsated erratically. And all at once, there was an opening between the point light and the back two lights on the right and left side. opened up into full circles, and you could look up inside this triangular shaped craft. Two highly metallic spheres dropped down out, and they bobbed up and down real slow simultaneously until those openings closed. Looking at the one on the right, it started to spin and sparks started flying out from the center of it. I turned to look to see what the one on the left was doing. In the blink of an eye, one shot north, one shot south. The lights on the bottom of this triangle just absolutely went crazy. It did a sharp zigzag to the left, erratic sharp zigzag back to the right, and in the blink of an eye, it shot straight up till it was gone from view.
Wow.
And it was ran through a national UFO reporting center computer, and it was kicked out as a true unknown.
Really? But at that time, in all I've been doing podcasts out there for a long time. I have a lot of UFO experts that do come on, and they never mentioned about what is that thing you just mentioned where the computer kicked out what it was, an unknown thingy.
Well,
no one ever talks about that.
According to all the reports that were submitted, it was, I guess, calculated that it was an unknown, not something that was ours. I'm ex-military, stationed United States Navy, stationed aboard the USS America, CVA 66.
Independence here, buddy. Independence.
A former police officer. And I know with all my being that what we saw was not something that we have.
Right.
And, just they're out there. They're real. They exist.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Max?
Well, I just want to say this. I'm like ready to start screaming here. I served aboard the USS Constellation, CVA 64.
We're all clear your heads.
And listen, I was a radarman. I saw UFOs, and in my book, Flying Saucer Esoteric, I have an introduction where I talk about I saw the saucers, and what happened was, we were all 17, 18 years old. We're on the radar scope. We saw bogies, solid, tangible, maneuverable contacts. I mean, they were solid, and that means they weren't hallucinations. They weren't marsh gas or reflections from Venus or the other 25 excuses that the military and Project Blue Book always gave these witnesses. But these were tangible contacts that were more maneuverable than any guided missile we had or the Soviet Union had at the time. So we would put them down in the logbook, and we were told, keep your mouth shut. Don't talk about this. Now, we were 17, 18, 19. We were little babies, most of us under the age of 20, fighting this war. And we were at that point before, the demonstrations and protests, we were pretty law-abiding and obedient, and nobody said anything. But I'll tell you what, during my spare time, I would look through those logbooks and look at those. They would have all these UFO sightings with range and bearings. And I would look at those, and then the next day, those logbooks would disappear, and they would have brand new logbooks, and we would start all over. And I go to my Navy reunions all the time, and we have this discussion, and yes, people have seen UFOs or UAPs, whatever you want to call them, whatever the Pentagon wants to call them. But not only Navy guys, but other branches of the service, tell me the same thing. So these things are widespread. Pretty much the way I understand it, maybe 3% of the things that we see are anomalous. And the guesses are that they're either ours, they're theirs, i.e., Iran, China, Russia, or they're either extraterrestrial, if you go that route, or interdimensional, as I believe. So 3%. We don't know what they are. So take your best guess, and let me know if you guys have another choice. Ours, theirs, or an alien thing.
Okay, a couple people just popped into the room. Hey, Michael Anthony, good to see you. Thanks for stopping in tonight. Cindy Mitch, so good to see you. Much love to you. And Agenda 153, she says hello to you, Heidi. But I'm glad that you guys brought up, since I was on the Independence and all the other carriers, you know what I mean? But why today that the government just holds back on the information about UAPs, UFOs, I call them UFOs. This UAP shit don't cut it for me.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
And
let's start a movement.
And no movements, no. But maybe you can, Max, but not me. But why do you think? I'd like to get both of y'all's opinion. Why they think like the government just only gives us a certain amount of info on them. And if it's true, it could be one big lie. When it is the 21st century, okay, people aren't dumb no more. They know what's going on. So why do you think, gentlemen, the government just refuses to tell us about them?
Well, I firmly believe that not so much the government as it is, big corporations. By giving the information to these big corporations to run with, you can't get a Freedom of Information report from them. The government can say they don't exist. Although our government and the world governments are very much actively involved and are still involved today, probably more so than ever. But power, knowledge is power. So if they can take, and they, by meaning our government and these big corporations, can harness the power that these craft possess, or learn the technology through reverse engineering. What world power would not want to be able to have that under their control?
Right.
And,
okay.
We've been literally lied to all our lives, and we're in an era that the government can't keep it quiet anymore. Everybody's got a cell phone in their pocket. Those cell phones have cameras, and you have more people from all walks of life that are seeing these things. They're reporting these things, including top military officials and government officials that are now coming forward. So hopefully we are in an era of disclosure, and I hope that full disclosure will come in our lifetime, but I'm doubtful. The government is feeding us bits and pieces. You're seeing more and more on national TV where they have all these syndicated programs about UFOs, and I think they're giving us bits and pieces and feeding us slowly, so we will more readily accept the truth if the truth should ever come out.
Okay. Michael Anthony says the paper trail does tell us about them. Never forget that part. And he also says, I don't want to come off wrong, but we already possess things that you would never believe. Possibility, Mike. I believe that. Kurt says, go ahead, Max.
Okay. Yeah, I want to just argue the other side, Daniel. I think that I think we're being played and manipulated. The CIA was organized back in 1947, and one of the things they had was Project Mockingbird. And what they did was they aligned themselves with media organizations. They controlled the media stories and the media flow. So there's certain stories that don't go out there because they're on top of that. They manipulate those. So I think that we have information and propaganda that we're being fed. I don't believe any of this disclosure or transparency. Look what happened in July of 2023, and look what happened in November of 2024. In 23, we had David Grush come out and say that he knows where the saucers are and he knows where the bodies are. That was in July of 23. In November of 24, we had Luis Elizondo said the same thing. He knows that the government knows where these things are. Well, where are they? You know, I wrote letters to Marco Rubio and 6 other politicians who were members of the UFO, the Congressional UFO Committee. Marco Rubio was the only one that responded to me. My letter said this. I was asking them to encourage people like David Grush, show us cards. If he knows where these things are, let's show us. Let's not just talk the talk, let's walk the talk. And right now, there's no disclosure or transparency. It's just, I think, a smokescreen. So I'll say that there's disinformation. The other thing, too, I think that there's clandestine organizations. You know, we know about the CIA and all the stuff they did with MK Ultra, where they used LSD to dose people and see how they would respond. You know, stuff that was totally immoral, unethical, illegal. But I believe that the government has countless groups out there, entities that are doing things to try to get the military advantage. Last year, I was doing a presentation at a esoteric conference. The guy sitting next to me was from San Francisco, and he worked for the government in remote viewing. And I wanted to pick his brain and find out exactly what he knew. But he said he couldn't tell me anything. But we know Jacques was one person that claimed that he was a pretty good remote viewer. But here's what I'm saying. I believe that it's not the CIA or the FBI, but there's clandestine groups there that we could track if you could track the money trail, see where all the funding is going with the Department of Defense. But I think that the government has special organizations that deal in time travel, mind control, remote viewing, you name it. Anything that would give us the advantage in a military way. I think that Iran, North Korea, China, Russia are doing the same things. And I think this has been going on since the 1950s. The other thing, too, with the government, we don't believe them because they lied too many times. You know, 1945 with Roswell, they said it was just a weather balloon. A little bit later, they said, no, it was Project Mogul. You know, then a little bit later, they changed it to something else. So they kept on changing their tune, telling us different things. And now we don't believe the government. And when that happens, here's the thing. There's a pushback. When the government lies to us and all we're getting is propaganda and disinformation, people start gravitating to conspiracy theories. We go from science to the pseudoscience or the anti-science. And we're in a climate right now where people are embracing anti-science and a lot of these things that just don't make sense. And Michael Anthony, if we know something, if there's something there that the government has that you know, I mean, you need to be telling us too. We don't want to just talk about it. We want to know what these things are. But I would say this too, and then I'll stop talking. I think that, Sean, all your listeners should write letters to their politicians demanding disclosure and transparency. Let us know what you know. What's there in 51? What's there in Roswell, et cetera, et cetera. So, show your cards and don't just talk the talk.
All right, Max, thanks for that. Hey, everybody, listen, it's at the bottom of the hour, and so I'm going to take a 70-second break, maybe a minute break. So if you have to go get coffee or tea or whatever you got to do, go to the bathroom, please stick around for the second part of the show. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Brittany Ashley, your host of Breaking Norms, Building Dreams, your guide through this transformative journey in both business and life. This is your place crafted for dreamers, doers, or anyone who has been told they can't. Get ready as we challenge those narratives together. You're tuning in live to the United Public Radio Network, airing on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are streaming on all the popular platforms every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me for a candid and thought-provoking conversation celebrating your unique journey, because you are worth it.
The Church of Mavis Radio Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m., 7 Central, starring Jeffrey Pritchett with his co-hosts Wham and Jay McNicholas, right here on the United Paranormal Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the second part of Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. I am on UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans. I have my guest here, Maxim Furek, he's a paranormal author, and Daniel Hageman, who is going to be running the 18th annual Butler Paranormal Conference in Butler, PA. Michael says, I've done it. It's not my fault. People don't listen. Michael says, it's not my fault. People step over me, but please remember the people that do surround me, they are way above people's pay grades. Yeah, talk the talk. That has already been said from the past. All right. Thanks for sharing that, Michael. Okay. So we are going to get back to the Butler Paranormal Conference. So Dan, how many vendors are you going to be having up there? What kind of vendors?
It varies from year to year. We're probably looking at close to 50 vendors so far this year. It seems like every year we have vendors that pay to come. You know, they pay for their vendor spot, and something happens, they don't show up. But approximately 50 vendors. We have 5 guest speakers. We provide food, so it's a long day. The conference starts at 10 a.m. in the morning, doors open to the public, and it runs until 7 o'clock in the evening. And guest speakers, they have an hour each to do their presentation, and that includes Q&A, questions and answers. And then we have a half-hour intermission in between the guest speakers, so people can get up, stretch, get something to eat if they want, go outside and smoke, and also shop the vendor tables. Mm-hmm. And, we have hot dogs any way you can fix them. Kraut dog, ketchup and pickle mustard, relish, kraut. You name it. We also have meatball hoagies. We have nachos, coffee, pop, water, potato chips, fruit. And, I basically call it comfort food, but at least it's something that if somebody gets hungry, they can partake of that if they choose.
Good comfort food. Do you have ice cream? You going to have ice cream?
That's something we've never done before.
Well, you know what? I highly recommend you get some ice cream and some ice cream place and some cookies along with that ice cream. Ice cream and cookies, man. That's the way to do it. Eat all that ice cream it gives you for your brain freezes. You know what I mean? Kason, good to see you, buddy. So question to you, Max. Now, I know you're not up here in Pittsburgh yet, but what are some of the things that you're going to be talking about when you do your speaking engagement, if you want to tell?
Well, one aspect I'm going to talk about is the connection between Bigfoot and UFOs. And again, I use that term, but and I see some commonality between both things. I think that there's paranormal aspects with both. I think the fact that we can't come up with flesh and blood or nuts and bolts, show something, indicates that maybe there's a paranormal element. And again, I believe that both entities are interdimensional, that they shape shift in between our dimensions, parallel universes. I don't know how, but in Chestnut Ridge, in the latest issue of Fate magazine, I'm a contributor to Fate. I have an article there on Chestnut Ridge, and we talk about that very weird area. It's only supposed to be 4 counties, but I contend that Chestnut Ridge is a lot larger than that. And even with Kevin Paul being in Greene County, I mean, that's a very paranormal county with all of the things that he's documented. But I just think that Western Pennsylvania, including Pittsburgh, including Butler and Night of the Living Dead and all that, is the epicenter for zombies and horror movies and the paranormal. Chestnut Ridge has a majority of sightings, Bigfoot sightings, along with UFOs, Bigfoot and orbs and Bigfoot. Stan Gordon's made a career in writing about this and documenting this. People see things, they tell Stan, and he documents it. And we're fortunate in Western Pennsylvania to have so many people, so many talented people, so many talented people that are involved and interested in the paranormal that are contributing to this tapestry. I just think it's amazing. Supposedly it's either Pennsylvania or Florida is number 3 as far as Bigfoot sightings. California and Washington State, and different organizations claim that Pennsylvania's 3, or Florida with the Skunk Ape is number 3. But nonetheless, Pennsylvania has just innumerable sightings of Bigfoot and thunderbirds and other cryptids.
Oh yeah,
just an amazing. And with Kecksburg from December 9th, 1965, Kecksburg, which may be even more significant than Roswell, based on information that we have and witnesses. And keep this in mind, when that happened in 65, those witnesses came forward, they were interviewed. We had immediate data, as opposed to Roswell, where we didn't hear anything until Stanton Friedman interviewed them in 78. And the Roswell Incident, the book by William L. Moore, came out in 1980. 33 years later, the story was told. Kecksburg was fresh. It was different. And Kecksburg, again, I think resonates more. We had more people that were involved in that. And again, that's in the backyard. That's in Chestnut Ridge. I mean, you can't get any weirder. Dan, I mean, you're living and breathing those paranormal vibes, So I don't know what's in the water, but there's something
it's
going
all
on.
paranormal, buddy. Remember, we have 3 Mile Island up here in Pittsburgh.
There you
So
go.
people remind, I'm telling you, but listen, I highly agree with you on that one, Max, where I believe that the Bigfoot and the UFOs are part of the same deal. Because whenever people have Bigfoot sightings, there's a lot of UFO sightings too at the time. I do believe that, they coexist with each other. But Dan, for you say you have a friend up at Kinzua Dam. I do believe there was the story about how a UFO came out of that water up there. Squats, man, good to see you, buddy. That a UFO came out of that dam.
That's correct. Actually, I went up. It was the following weekend that happened to do an investigation. And when I get up there, they still had the caution tape up, cordoned off the whole area. And they had, park rangers, state police, and the military come in and order people to vacate the area. You don't take your camping equipment. You don't take anything. You get in your vehicle, you leave, and you leave now, or you're going to be arrested. They didn't give people an option. And when I went up, I actually talked to a couple of the park people, and they acted like I had the plague. They didn't want to talk to me. They wanted to steer clear of me. And I went out, and there were, a few people that were walking around near the dam area. And I just blatantly walked up to him. I gave him one of our cards and explained to him who I was and what I was doing. And I asked him point blank, what can you tell me, if anything, about the UFO that was supposedly taken out of the dam here? And, several people, and I believed them, honestly, had no idea or knowledge of what I was talking about. There were some people that they wouldn't even take my card. They looked at me and they turned and walked away from me. You could tell they knew something, but they weren't talking about it. Then there were a few brave souls that did say that supposedly it was a bluish green light that they could see down under the water. It was about 100 yards off of the dam. And apparently the Army Corps of Engineers and the military went in under the cover of darkness and took out whatever was in there. And I talked with a couple individuals. They said that they saw them loading something onto a barge, a huge object onto a barge, covering it over with multiple tarps, and then just going to wherever they took it. Something definitely happened up there, but
right. That's craziness up there.
A lot like Hexburg.
You know what? I tell you what. And this is for another show, guys. I know people who think Kecksburg was a hoax. Now, I know Stan Gordon believes in Kecksburg wasn't a hoax, but there are people I know that believe that it was a hoax. And so right now I got to ride the fence on what's happening at Kecksburg, but I will do a show on Kecksburg. Kaysen says, oh, that's funny. And we'll go from there. But that's the coolest thing about the paranormal field and the UAPs and Bigfoot communities is that you can come up with your own conclusion and you can go with that. You know what I mean? You don't, a good paranormal investigator, Bigfoot investigator, they don't need to go out and broadcast what they got. Do you know what I mean? Especially if you got good video, good audio. If I was out hunting and going out researching or looking for Bigfoot and I caught Bigfoot shaking my hand like this, and someone got a picture of it, I'm not going to spread it all around. Who cares? Let them deal with it on their own. I mean, it's none of their, well, it is their business, but man, being a seasoned investigator like I am, I have some photos that would blow you away and some video that would blow you away, but I'm not going to share it. You know what I mean? And it's not because I'm being egotistical about it or shit like that. It's just that I just cherish what I see and what I get. But, we're coming up close to the end of the show, guys. Dan, want to give us your last word tonight about the conference or what else, whatever you want to say about it, sir?
Well, this is
Stoney.
This is going to be our 18th year, and it has grown exponentially every year. The interest is out there, and if your listeners or viewers are in the area and would like to come to the conference, we would love to have you. It's a good time. It's a one-day event. A lot of like-minded people getting together, sharing their experiences. I'm not in this for profit, which there are a lot of guys out there that are looking to make a buck. I started this because I firmly believe that these things are real from my personal experiences. And my sole mission is to bring the truth to the public. And as long as we can make enough that we can have the conference the year after, providing the interest is still there and my health holds up, we will continue to do so.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan, for that. Max, last word.
Yeah, I'm just excited to be to play a small part in the Butler Paranormal Conference. I'm looking forward to meeting the folks out there. And, I do a lot of my expos on the eastern side of the state. So this is great when I could go out to the west, go into the mecca of the paranormal. So this is great for me. So I'm looking forward to hanging out and meeting the folks and, and doing whatever I can to help, make this a success. So, so thank you, Daniel, and thank you, Sean, for inviting us to the show tonight. And my last word is just for you guys. Thanks for your service. I'm so glad we're all Navy guys. I mean, believe that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Picture us 20 years ago, at a bar someplace, straight stories.
Those were the good old days. That was the fun Navy, not the Navy they got going on.
Sean, I just want to say real quick, it's truly been a pleasure. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for advertising the conference, for having Maxim and myself on this evening. And I'd love to do it again sometime. If
I'll get you on. I'll get you on, Dan. Don't worry about that.
On your offer.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. In fact, that you're reading my mind. It must be psychic energies. But listen, thank you, gentlemen, for being on tonight. Children, if you can, please go to your parents, give them a hug and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. And if you have no parents, if you have no children, please find somebody, give them a hug and tell them that you love them. Because those 3 words, I love you, go a long way. And in today's world, we need to hear that. And on that note, have a happy week, and I will see you Sunday night.
God bless.